Edinburgh Festival Fringe is the world's largest arts festival which in 2015 spanned 25 days and featured over 50,000 performances, established in 1947 as an alternative to the Edinburgh International Festival. It takes place annually in Scotland's capital in the month of August. It is an open-access or unread performing arts festival, meaning that there is no selection committee and anyone may participate with any type of performance. The official Fringe program categorizes shows into many different sections including theatre, comedy, dance, and cabaret. Comedy is the largest section and the one that in modern times has the highest public profile. This is in part due to the Edinburgh Comedy Awards, which have launched the careers of many household names in British comedy. The Fringe has often showcased experimental, challenging or controversial works that might not be invited.
Correct answer is
Two days after Lenin's death in 1924, architect Alexis Khrushchev was charged with building a structure suitable for viewing the body by mourners. A wooden tomb was made ready in Red Square within the week and Lenin's coffin was placed in it. Pathologists had about embalmed the body shortly after Lenin's death, but by 1929, it was determined that it would be possible to preserve the body for much longer than usual. The next year a new mausoleum of marble, granite and labradorite was completed. The body was removed in October 1941 and evacuated to Siberia when it appeared that Moscow might be captured by German troops after the war. It was returned.
correct answer is
Secondary schools suspend or expel 2 million students each year, mostly for non-violent offenses such as disruption, disrespect, tardiness and dress code violations. Research shows that getting suspended or expelled increases students' risk for falling into unproductive behavior, affecting their social-emotional development, academic performance, and life trajectories. Studies also find that positive approaches to school discipline at all ages can actually improve students' academic performance, and those students are less likely to become involved in the juvenile justice system or
correct answer is
It is not uncommon for parents to wonder whether their child is acting like a normal teenager or behaving differently due to mental illness, drug use or behavioral difficulties. Normal teenagers are often moody due to hormonal and physical changes that happen during puberty. However, when mental illness is involved, it may be difficult to differentiate normal teenage behavior from the symptoms of depression, anxiety and other emotional difficulties. Teenagers may be short-tempered and get angry easily, especially when they begin to naturally separate from the family and feel they do not have enough distance or privacy. The natural process of separation begins in early adolescence. This is when parents see that their child begins to be embarrassed by them and spends increasing amounts of time with friends and very little time with the family. You may be worried that your teenager spends hours on end on the computer or locked in his or her room chatting on the phone and gets defensive when asked what he or she is doing or who he or she is talking to. This type of behavior is
Correct answer is.
Jane and her husband were traveling alone in a car to her parents' place. She knew the 3-hour journey would be boring, and so was it. She and her husband reached the destination without a single word being spoken between them. While Jane sank into her phone, her husband stuck his eyes on the road. And their thoughts? Each one's in a different way. Loneliness happens when you both are at one place, but cannot connect with each other. You both feel awkward to be alone with each other. There is neither physical nor mental intimacy between you. In simple words, you're a couple to the world out there, but
Correct answer is.
until recently your home was abuzz with kids. You were busy feeding them, grooming them, helping them build their career, and showing them how to live independently. But now when your children started living independently, you feel lonely. You may be satisfied with your life's mission accomplished, but a look at your empty nest house makes you feel miserable. The empty nest syndrome is the feelings of sadness, loneliness, and loss of purpose by parents when their children move out of the house. This mostly happens when the children
Correct answer is.
drooling is quite common during infancy, but some babies drool more than the others, forcing the parents to carry several extra towels or bibs to wipe the mouth dry. Drooling is the excess production of saliva in the mouth, so much so that it dribbles out of the mouth. The medical term for hypersalivation is siluria. Drooling usually begins at the age of 2 months when the baby's salivary glands become functionally active. Babies lack precision control of their neck muscles and thus may not swallow the saliva produced continuously in their mouth. Young infants also do not have teeth to hold back the saliva. Due to these reasons, there is nowhere else for the saliva to go than.
Correct answer is.
You must admit and accept that your kid is now an almost grown child stepping into adulthood. Everything is different and new for him or her. Your teenager now has emotions and feelings that he never experienced before. He is constantly trying to use and experiment his newfound independence. Therefore, there are few problems parents face with teenagers. On the other hand, you are still looking at your teenager as a kid. He has been so dependent on you all this while, that you forgot that now he has grown on his own. Parents treat teenagers as kids and kids look at themselves as adults. This causes
Correct answer is.
An intrepid undergrad led the way to understanding the physics of snapping strands of spaghetti. Why spaghetti doesn't break into 2 pieces. Why it breaks into 3 pieces or more. I am Ronald Sir and I'm a little bit of a contrarian person. I thought it would be fun to try and break it into 2. 'Cause no one said you couldn't do that. They just said why it doesn't break into two. In fact, the French researchers who were awarded the Ig Nobel Prize in 2006 found that when spaghetti is bent evenly from both ends, it will crack near the center, where the stick is most curved. But this initial break sets up a vibrational wave that quickly fractures the rod further. So you get
Correct answer is
baby giraffes inherit aspects of their mother's patterning, which could give them a survival advantage if good camouflage runs in the family. Derek Lee is a wildlife biologist and population ecologist at Penn State, and with the Wild Nature Institute, a research consultancy group. He and his collaborators have been tracking giraffes for 7 years, throughout 1,500 square miles in Tanzania. And they've amassed a library of 70,000 giraffe photos along the way. Now, they've used image analysis software to study the spots of mothers and their calves. And they found that baby giraffes inherit at least some particular elements of their patterning from their mothers. Like how circular the spots are, and how jagged the edges are. He also mentioned that just like humans have virtually unique sets of fingerprints, every giraffe has a unique set of
correct answer is
white has become the standard color for airplanes' exteriors. While stylish, it's also a calculated decision by many airlines. White is easy to spot, whether in the air, on the ground, or in the case of a crash, in the sea. And it's easy to see cracks or chips in the paint when that paint is white. This detection is important because dirt and moisture can quickly collect in these chips, becoming sites of corrosion that could eat away at the aircraft's body. This is one reason, in fact, that planes are usually painted at all instead of being left as polished metal. Painted metal more readily resists corrosion than unpainted metal. You'll often see plastic, fiberglass, or carbon fiber painted white on planes, too. This is because these parts of the plane are easily susceptible to sun damage, which the white paint helps.
correct answer is
While experimenting with wheat genes that turn tomatoes dark green, geneticists accidentally discovered one of the reasons why today's tomatoes lack taste. Modern tomatoes are light green before they turn uniformly red. Surprisingly, the mutation that gives tomatoes uniform red color actually disables some of the ripening genes. Those genes allow the fruit to make its own sugar, which makes the tomato sweeter. The genes also increase the amount of carotenoid pigments, which give tomatoes
correct answer is
There are places on Earth like California or the Australian outback where there are fire seasons. While they can create significant property damage and are dangerous, the fire seasons are important ecological events. First, on the grasslands, they need wildfires to occur to stay grasslands. Without a cycle of growth, flame, regrowth, These areas can change dramatically over time to become forests. Wildfires destroy the grass, yes, but also any plants that, if they continue to live in the area, would help it start to change into a forest. This in a basic way describes one of the ways that ecological succession happens. Many animals are bound to particular types of ecosystems. An animal that thrives in a prairie or savanna environment may not be able to adapt to live in a wooded.
Correct answer is.
Ancient Egyptians used to soak their blankets in water before bed to keep cool at night. In theory, sleeping under the evaporating water would keep one cool at night. Historians conclude from the structure of the homes and furniture of people commonly known as Vikings that their sleep spaces were very confining. It is theorized that people slept on wooden benches, sitting up or lying down between animal furs. As long as you are able to get comfortable and recline slightly, sleeping upright does not pose.
Correct answer is.
When we are trying to figure something out, an essay, a problem set, a puzzle, it can feel like we need whatever we don't have. When a parent or roommate keeps interrupting your train of thought with casual comments about dinner or their day, you dream of a quiet place to focus. When you enter your second hour staring at the same math problem or mostly blank first page of an essay, you dream about taking a break. It turns out that, for creative tasks, both have their place. But figuring out when to use each means recognizing that not all breaks, or interruptions, are created equal. Researchers studying problem solving break the process down into main.
Correct answer is.